Hello guys, welcome to Football Fan Den UK. Hope you're having a smashing weekend. Today's video is about the Community Shield. We've just witnessed a cracking game from Manchester City and Liverpool. Both teams going for it. And I think it was, we've seen evidence of the FA not exactly being positive, shall we say. But we'll get into that a little bit more in a second. If you are new to the channel, it'd be very much appreciated if you like what you're seeing. If you could like, share and subscribe, that would be awesome. Best way to help the channel going forward. The channel is new. The channel is all about fans. It's not about clubs. It's not about rich owners. It's not about anything other than fans. We talk about things from a fan's point of view. That's the aim of the channel. So yeah, guys, if you're new to it, hopefully you will be liking what you're seeing, and if you are, then you know what to do. Okay, guys, let's get into it. So today we had the Community Shield. It's just finished. I've just watched the game. It was an absolute cracker. I think Manchester City had the best of the first half. Liverpool definitely had the best of the second half, created a lot of chances in that second half, and I think towards the end, from my point of view, it would look like Manchester City were hanging on a bit. And then it resulted in penalties, which is not exactly the best way to decide a game, in my opinion. I would rather see an extra 30 minutes and let the players try and decide it on the field, because that's what the game's about. It's about playing football. So in my opinion, they should finish with an extra 30 minutes. Especially in a game like this, because it's all more extra fitness for the players before the start of the season. Which can only be a positive. If it was deep into the season and players were struggling for fitness, fatigue, things like that, then I could understand scrapping it, but I don't particularly agree with it. I think it's people within the game that are orientated to money and not the quality of what's going on the pitch. Obviously they want to see quality, but they don't necessarily want to embrace extra time, etc, etc. So yeah, guys, issues that I noticed in the game, and I didn't get to catch all of it, but I caught the majority of it. There was a tackle between a Liverpool player and a Manchester City player, where two players came together for a tackle, with both of them having their feet up in the air and what would be called studs showing. Manchester City were not happy with this, and as we could see on the commentary and on the game, we could see that Manchester City's manager Pep Guardiola took issue with this tackle, got quite aerated with regards to it, and made himself known that he was frustrated with the tackle, which is fine. He's entitled to his opinion, but in my opinion, I think it was a 50-50. I think both players showed their studs, both players had their feet up, so it was a 50-50. So I think Pep Guardiola will look at that incident again in the next few days. I think he will realise that he was actually shouting about nothing. Because it was both players, as I say, had their feet up and studs showing. But then we saw that because he got a bit irate about this particular incident, the referee decided to go over and show him a yellow card, which is part of the new rules that have come in from the FA. And one or two other incidents, one or two other topics, should we say, in the game with regards to goalkeepers staying on the line for the penalty. And also, I think there was also another incident, I forget right now. But basically, the point being is that it looks like the FA, yet again, instead of actually doing what they should be doing, have spent the summer looking at how they can improve their authority, which is an absolute disgrace. I remember the incident now, guys, what it was that actually, I think it was with regards to, that was it, yeah, with regards to the other incident was regards to, now they changed the rules, so if the ball is in play and it hits the referee, in the old days, but in fact not even the old days, last year, it was technically classed as the referee is part of the field, part of the game, therefore play continues. Now the FA have changed the rules. If it hits the referee stops the game and then allows the respective team to either take a free kick or it's a drop ball or along them lines. Which for me, guys, is just highlights yet again the incompetency of the FA, because if it ain't, in my opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We all understand the rules with regards to the ball hitting the referee. None of us really had an issue with it. I haven't noticed any fans coming out making a big issue of it. They might have a moan occasionally when it goes against them, but all fans are going to do that. But as I say, as far as I'm concerned, it's yet again the FA making their presence known with an issue that wasn't an issue. But that for me today was the standout thing in the game. That we had two teams going at it, giving us an absolutely cracking friendly, because the Community Shield is technically a friendly, and absolutely embracing it as if it was a full-on normal fixture. And we have the FA, again, as far as I'm concerned, making their presence known with referees and incidents in a derogatory way, as far as I'm concerned, guys. I don't know what you guys think of it, but for me, that was the standout thing in the game. Cracking game, two teams going at it, as I say, but the FA making their presence known with their obsession with authority. And I think it's an absolute disgrace, because all it's going to lead to is spoiling the game. It's going to spoil the game, because we're going to have too many incidents where the referee stops the game for silly things like he did today. He stopped the game for a Liverpool player kicking the ball and it hitting him, and he stopped the game and allowed Liverpool to take a free kick, and that's just not right. It's you're stopping the flow of the game. Just basically so the FA can show their authority within the game, and for me that's not a positive, it's a negative. Back to the incident that I was talking about with regards to Pep Guardiola. Don't get me wrong, I think he was out of order in respect of his protest against the particular incident with two players coming together with their feet up, studs showing. Excuse me, that was a bit of a mouthful. I don't agree with him. I think he was out of order to actually protest it, because it was a 50-50 and both players did show their studs. But I take issue with yet again another incident of the FA showing their authority. Now the referees have now got new powers to basically give managers a yellow card and a red card, as if they was players. Well, I'm sorry, but yet again, this is another example of the FA trying to suppress free speech. Now, if a manager behaves in a way that is, unacceptable, we already know that the FA give the power to the referee to send that manager to the stands. And even in some cases, in worse cases, should we say, they have the power to actually send them out of the ground, in respect to sending them to the changing rooms or behind the scenes where they can't be in the actual ground itself, i.e. in the stands or on the touchline. So I think that was adequate. I think it worked. None of us had a problem with it. It was all visible throughout the season gone by and other seasons gone by. Most countries deal with any particular incidents with it, coaches and managers in the same way. But now the FA, in their infinite wisdom, have decided to change it and start with this card system where you give managers a yellow card and a red card. And as I believe, it also counts for other people on the coaching staff and players who are sat on in the dugout, on the touchline, whatever you want to call it. They can also be given a yellow or red card for protesting or basically for speaking up was a decision that they don't agree with. Well, I don't know what you guys think. I would love to know what you guys think, but for me, it is yet again another negative being brought into the game. I think that the game should be allowed to flow. I think that managers should be allowed to come out and speak up if they feel that they, as long as they do it in a respectable way, they should be allowed to speak and say and voice their frustrations and concerns with regards to the game. How is the game going to improve if we're trying to suppress managers from showing any sort of emotion with regards to decisions that are made or incidents that happen during a game that affect the team or the club that they are in charge of? So for me, yet again, guys, it's another example of the FA's incompetence. They didn't need to change the rule, but they've decided to change the rule, and I think it's just yet another example of the FA, flexing their muscles to try and show their authority. When in actual fact, they're not showing their authority to the relevant people that they should be showing their authority to, as far as I'm concerned. This is only my viewpoint, but in my opinion, this is the FA using their power to flex their muscles in respect of showing their authority, because they don't have any authority over the Premier League. They have authority within the game because they have referees that referee the game, but they don't actually hold any power over the Premier League. And because of that, we're seeing now that they're coming up with these stupid rules, stupid updates, of changing things that have worked for years, just so that they can basically flex their muscles and show that they are actually in charge of English football. And that's fine, don't get me wrong. I think the FA should be challenging the Premier League and showing that they're in charge, and not allowing the Premier League to basically get above their station, shall we say, because we all love the Premier League. But if the FA feel that they are not being respected enough by the Premier League, then they should state it, come out publicly, state it if it's necessary, and have a meeting or whatever they need to do with the representatives of the Premier League and address the issue accordingly. Not be changing rules within the game just so that they can show that they're in charge, because that affects us all. It affects us as fans, it affects the clubs we love, and it's just not right. So yeah, guys, that's my little rant today with regards to the FA, because I did find that rather frustrating watching the game, that yet again seeing more incidents of just the FA's just, as far as I'm concerned, they're just an absolute joke. They've spent the summer, making new rules and changing rules instead of doing things that they should be doing, and that is, helping clubs and many other things that we're all aware of throughout the football pyramid that need true attention by the FA. And then, rather than doing these things, they spend the summer, looking at how they can change this rule, change that rule. And, an example to you guys of how incompetent the FA is the fact that we're having VAR coming now, because we can't trust referees to make sensible decisions. Don't get me wrong, we know referees are human and they're going to make mistakes, but at the end of the day, we see that referees consistently make mistakes in incidents that they should be getting right. In the odd case, we see that it might be just a genuine mistake. They're blocked off from seeing what's happening, players stood in front of them, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, guys, as far as I'm concerned, it's the fact that we're needing VAR just shows that we can't trust the referees to make the correct decisions that are relevant in a game. But anyway, guys, back to the game. I think that it was an absolute cracker, and I do not like seeing the game ending with penalties. I think it was a fair penalty shootout, but I'm not too sure about this new rule that's kicked in with goalkeepers. They're allowed to have 1 foot on the line and 1 foot off the line. That to me is just yet again another example of the FA allowing things to be confusing, because last year they made a rule with regards to the offside rule, and that allowed things to become throughout the season confusing. And yet again, we're seeing another example of the FA actually making another issue within the game more confusing. So for me, we'll have to see how that one pans out throughout the season. But for me, it doesn't look like it's going to be a positive Apparently, the reason they brought this rule in, they're claiming, is apparently to make things fairer for the goalkeeper because of certain players that like to stutter as they take a penalty. But I'm not sure if it actually is a positive. That could be a smokescreen. But as I say, guys, we will only find out how that one's going to play out as the season moves on and as we get through more games. But overall, guys, I think it was an absolute cracker. And to be quite honest, I think that Man City were hanging on towards the end. They were lucky not to lose the game outright because Liverpool really started to turn the screw in the last 10-15 minutes as far as I was concerned. They were having more shots on goal. They were keeping possession better. And I think that, Man City was a bit, maybe run out of energy, a bit fatigued. I don't know. But obviously, when clubs are travelling all over the world, promoting the Premier League and promoting themselves as clubs, I think we're going to see incidents like this in games where we see, that fatigue and basically tiredness kick in and means that players don't necessarily perform to their full potential throughout the 90 minutes. And I think today we saw incidents of both clubs having players that weren't 100% fit. But as we know, that's how football is these days, guys. The clubs insist on travelling all over the world to promote their club, and I think that is a positive. I just think it could be structured better. What I mean by that is, in for example, in Liverpool's case, they played a couple of friendlies at home in the UK before they actually travelled to America for their pre-season. And I think that maybe they should have just played one game in the UK and then got off travelling to America to get back and get basically acclimatised back in the UK, ready for the start of the season. And I'm only using that as an example. I'm not sure exactly when Manchester City came back to the UK, but I know they've been travelling over to China, and I think they played in Hong Kong, if I remember rightly, as well. But I know they've been over that way, that part of the world, and obviously promoting themselves, which is great for Manchester City and obviously great for the Premier League. But is it great for this Premier League getting underway with having so many miles clocked up travelling for players and coaching staff? I'm not sure. I personally like seeing clubs going around the world travelling, but I just think it needs to be managed better. It needs to be managed where clubs get it done out the way as soon as pre-season starts. Go to the countries that you go into, get travelling, go and play the games over there, and then they can get back to the UK and focus on getting themselves up to scratch and ready for the start of the season, instead of this obsession with spreading themselves about all over the place. And we're seeing more and more evidence of it, because as we've seen at the end of last season, Chelsea decided to travel to America before they actually played the UEFA Cup for a friendly. Which, obviously it didn't cost them. They played the UEFA Cup and won against Arsenal. But it could have been, if they'd have lost that game, I think a lot of people would have blamed it on the fact that they'd travelled to America. So yeah, guys, do you think that's a fair point? Do you think it's not a fair point? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I'd love to know your thoughts. But overall, I think it was a good game for today for the Community Shield. I think we might actually see that Liverpool yet again are going to actually, really try and put the pressure on Manchester City again this season. I'm not saying they will, but it looks like the way that they, basically grew into the game, because I think there was a bit maybe not as cohesive as we used to seeing them in the first half. But I think they grew into the game. I think they're going to challenge Man City's dominance this season yet again. But the question's got to be asked, guys. Is there going to be more clubs? Are Man United, are Chelsea, are Arsenal, are these other big clubs going to step up to the plate and challenge Manchester City? Or are they just going to continue to basically, allow Manchester City to dominate because they're not the respective clubs are not doing enough to challenge? Now, obviously, Chelsea this season are going to be quite restricted because they've they're under the influence of a transfer embargo, so that's going to make things pretty difficult for them to try and challenge, because they've not been able to do an awful lot to improve their squad. But they can still have a go, because as fans, one thing we want to see, we just want to see fight. We want to see our players for our respective clubs put in everything, leave everything out on that pitch. And if they do that and they lose, that's fine. Me as a fan, I'll accept it. I'll accept if my team loses, but I want to see them lose fighting. I want to see them give everything on the pitch, and I'm sure you guys do. That's all we want to see as fans. We'll accept defeat when it comes around, but we want to see that the players that are wearing that shirt are giving absolutely everything for that shirt. Because at the end of the day, players today, you know, even in the lower leagues, they're in a very privileged position. You know, most of the people go out and do their normal day jobs, you know, and can only dream about being in a position of a professional footballer. So as far as I'm concerned, no matter whether these players are in the top league or the lower league, they should be giving absolutely everything for the shirt. And I think sometimes that we do see that sometimes players in the lower leagues will actually do it more than players in the top division. And I'm not saying that's the case all the way through, but I think we have seen incidences of sometimes where players in the lower leagues are prepared to run through a brick wall for the club that they're playing for. And we don't always see that in the Premier League, you know, and other top divisions throughout Europe, that players sometimes, not so much, you know, maybe, in my opinion, I would say more in it for themselves and not in it enough for the love of the game. But yeah, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. As I've said, my channel is new, so talking about individual games won't be something that I'll be concentrating on an awful lot in the short-term future, just simply because I'm building the channel. I'm doing all the videos on my own, so I can't cover absolutely every club and every fixture that comes about, because the channel is to try and cover as much of all of the UK's clubs. So therefore I would just literally be sat here 24/7 if I tried to make videos for every game that takes place. But I thought I'd do a video today for the Community Shield, just because it is what's classed as the season opener. Hopefully in the future, guys, we'll do more stuff on individual games, but obviously, as I say, hopefully you guys will bear with me while I'm building the channel. My aim for the short term is to just try and talk about, do videos and talk about and highlight particular issues that happen during the course of the season that affect fans with regards to supporting their clubs. Obviously, we will still talk about clubs, we'll talk about leagues, we'll talk about all different things. But as I say, for me on my own at the minute, building the channel, trying to cover every game is very difficult. So any feedback you guys can give me, any ideas you guys can give me with the channel moving forward, I will certainly take them on board. I'm not saying that I will take your ideas and run with it, but I will certainly take them on board, because as I said, guys, the channel is about fans. It's not about any particular league, it's not about any particular club, it's about fans of UK clubs. So yeah, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed joining me today. I will be making more videos coming up. Unfortunately, I am a bit restricted at the minute, guys, because I did injure my hand the other day, so that is obviously causing me a few problems with regards to using a computer and stuff, because I've got to rest the hand until it recovers. But hopefully, the doctor tells me it won't be too long, so hopefully I'll be firing fit soon and be able to get on with research a lot easier once my hand's better, and also make you guys more content that I hope you guys will enjoy. Okay, guys, take care for now, and hopefully you join me on the next video. Look after yourselves and take care for now. Bye.